Hey guys, Adam Fenig here with Fenig Equipment. You're tuned in to the Talkin Shed. This is our closing wheel segment of our series where we dive in real deep on different products and really educate you on them. This video segment is designed to basically replace the farm shows. At farm shows we have great dialogue, great interactions, customers can feel and grab products and ask specific questions about how it applies to their color planter. And that's exactly what this Talkin Shed series is designed to replicate. So over the years, I'm sure you've heard Fenig Equipment talk a lot about closing wheels. Closing wheels are the most important part of the most important pass, meaning that when you're planting, whether it's corn or soybeans, if you're not closing that slot properly, that pass could be wasted based on what Mother Nature has in store for you over the next 7 to 10 days. On corn, we know it's crucial to get all of those plants emerged within 24 hours of each other. They have to emerge evenly, consistently, and at the same time, or else you'll have a bunch of weeds out there, meaning you'll have some healthy plants that sprouted early, and then you'll have some late bloomers that never really amount to anything, but you paid for them to be there. On soybeans, it's all about cutting back population and maximizing every seed. With soybeans, we typically see that they do sprout and they do emerge, and that late emergers don't really hurt us as much as they do in corn. But what we're trying to close on soybean is the planting versus harvest gap. What I mean by that is if you plant 170,000 plants per acre of soybeans, how many are you harvesting? If you're planting 170 but harvesting 90, that's a big gap. That's 80,000 soybeans that you're throwing away just due to bad germination. And that's what we're wanting to close. A lot of studies on soybeans are showing us that we can decrease populations quite a bit and still maximize or even gain yield. But it's all about return on investment. So if we can plant 130,000 soybeans and harvest 100 of them and still have extremely good yields, that's where these closing wheels can make you some serious money. So that's what we're going to dig into. That's why we feel it's important, and that is why we talk about closing wheels so much here at Fenig Equipment. We feel it is the most cost-effective and highest return on investment piece that you could put on your planter today. That is without a question. It's been proven many times. So a lot of times you go buy a planter from John Deere or White or Kinsey. They come with these factory rubber wheels, and that's fine and dandy. But the problem with these is as you get into marginal conditions, which with the shorter windows we're faced with every spring, we know we all plant sometimes in marginal conditions. When you roll these across the ground, whether you're really hard ground or some wet ground, these do nothing other than compact, and they do not close that seed trench. So when it's wet out and you don't get that seed trench closed all the way, as it dries, that seed trench widens even more. So you've got this wheel that simply rolls across the ground, doesn't do anything for seed to soil contact, and pretty soon 3 to 4 days later you're spaced out. You can put as much down pressure on these as what you want, they still will not close the gap. And I'm going to talk here later, our goal is to close that seed trench, maximize seed to soil contact with as little down pressure on that seed as possible. Why is that? The more down pressure we put on that seed as we plant it, the more pressure it has to fight through to emerge and get out of the ground. So we want to fluff that soil around it. We want to cover it up, but we want that seed to have an easy trip up to the sun. And we're not going to do that for cranking down on our tail wheel piece and putting all kinds of pressure down on that seed. So it's crucial to put very little down pressure on these closing wheels. So I'm going to start off with the poly spike closing wheel versions. We offer two options for you there. We offer the Copperhead Furrow Cruiser, and we offer the Yetter Poly Spike closing wheel. I'm going to talk through some differences, but one thing that you're going to see consistent with closing wheels that Fennig equipment favors is this short spike. I don't care what color or brand of closing wheel you're using. Obviously, we feel we think very highly of the Copperhead Ag and the Yetter Poly Spike. We've put them to work and we've had customers give us extremely good feedback, and we use them here on our farm, on our White 8000. But what is crucial about the short spike is that it allows us to space these closing wheels extremely close together. An 1.25 inch gap is what we want between these two closing wheels, and we're allowed to do that. We can do that because these spikes are so short. They will not flip seed whenever you space them close together. They're just simply not long enough to reach your seed. So when they're spaced at an 1.25 inch gap, you will not touch your seed, but you're walking right on the very edge of that furrow. When you get a longer spike, maybe a 2.5 inch spike that sticks out here, you have to space it out much further so that you don't flip seed, because as that spike penetrates, it gets closer and closer to your seed the longer your spike gets. So you have to space it out. Well, when you space it out, you're walking out further from the furrow, and that wheel has to do more tillage and more work to close the seed trench that is only about 3/8 of an inch wide in the center of the row. So there's no sense in working out here with a long spike when you can just walk right on top of it with a short spike.